Those family heirlooms that you're holding on to, that china that was your great grandma's, those necklaces that have been passed down from generation to generation but are getting really tarnished in your jewelry box. What do you do with all of those? Well, parting with sentimental clutter is really tricky. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of ways that you can change your mindset about those particular items and how to part with them. Hey there, I'm Jessica, the Organized Mama. I'm a family organizing expert that helps you with organizing tips, tricks, and tutorials the entire family can do. So, getting rid or parting with those family heirlooms is so tricky. People have so much attachment. You have so much guilt with it. So I want to walk you through a couple of ways that we can start removing the emotional attachment to the physical item. And the first thing we can do is to change your mindset and outlook on basically every physical item you have in your home. Down below where you're watching this video, I have a free mindset guidebook. It literally will help you get to a place where we can start making some decisions about what to keep and what to part with based on how you feel about the item, not any outside noise around it. So our generation has kind of been handed a lot of items from our parents and our grandparents, and parting with them can be tough because we kind of feel that family guilt that's around a particular item. Well, that was your great-great-grandfather's, and they don't make furniture like that anymore. Or this was your great-great-grandma's that she brought from the old country and they brought here, and so you need to take care of it. Now, while I love the history and I love the meaning behind those things, not every one of them is meant to be held on to in your home. Yeah, I said it. The reason why is a lot of things have emotional meaning to others. And we, as grown adults now, might not have that same emotional attachment. And so you feeling guilty about it is not helping or really supporting you in your home and your life right now. Now, I am not suggesting get rid of every single family heirloom. Not even close. But if the family heirloom that you are holding on to is literally taking up space in your house and is really serving no purpose, nobody is finding it useful, it is collecting dust, it is causing you anxiety, you feel stressed out about it, then that is when it is time to remove the guilt around holding on to a particular item and then parting ways with it. One thing you can do is to ask yourself some decluttering questions. And once you've kind of set yourself up into a good mindset, then I also have some free decluttering questions that you can get down below as well. These questions really walk you through decluttering your home and parting with things that you might feel iffy about. Now, sometimes you might just need that extra push to part ways with an item. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. We have a dresser and nightstand that were my husband's great-grandparents. That piece of furniture is sitting in our basement, not really supporting anything and collecting dust. But there is guilt around parting with it. So instead of just parting with it, we've decided to transform it into something that will work with us and in our space. So let's start by removing the guilt around the item or the sentimental piece or the heirloom component of it. When you remove the guilt of holding on to it, you are going to be removing the emotional attachment to the physical item. Now, it is much harder to do than just talking about it. You are going to have to tune out the family because how can you get rid of that? What are you thinking? Trust me, I've heard that so many times. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to hold on to the things that actually make me happy when I look at them. So for me, I have my grandma and great grandma's teacups, and I have them displayed in our house. I don't have the entire set. I have one teacup from each grandparent. And they make me happy because when I look at them, I see that that is something that means something to me. I can see it. I know it's part of my family and I love it and appreciate it. But I don't need to hold on to the entire tea set plus the china plus the serving platters. I don't need all of that. Somebody else will truly appreciate and use those items instead of me. So I am comfortable parting ways with things that I know other people will use and love. That's how you can reduce the guilt. Someone else is going to want this. That is how the world works. So you keep what you want and what speaks to you, and it is okay to part with things. Now, if your family has put so much emotional value on it, then maybe you get an appraiser for, that particular item or that painting or that jewelry. Get an actual amount for how much that item is worth. It's really going to change things. So there was a client that we had quite a few years ago. She was moving into an assisted living and she was convinced that all of her furniture was going for millions of dollars. We had to get an appraiser to come into her house. Her children did not want her things. So the appraiser came in and gave her solid numbers and researched how much other items similar to that have sold, just so she could see that what she thought was worth millions because it had meaning to her was not necessarily worth millions in the end. So if you are feeling guilty about it, hire somebody to appraise those items. And then you will see if something is worth a lot of money, then why not sell it and use the money that you earned to do something special to celebrate your family. Make memories with that money that you use to sell a particular heirloom and do something to celebrate that particular family member. How meaningful would it be if you were able to go take a trip to the beach, and while you're standing on the beach, you hired a photographer to capture a picture of you and your family, and you frame it, and every time you look at it, you know that purpose of that trip was to celebrate the life of a family member. To me, that is so meaningful, so powerful, and so touching that a painting or a piece of jewelry might not ever give you that exact same feeling as enjoying an experience with your family. Another thing to kind of part with is gifts. This one I've seen so much, and it hurts me when I have to tell people that you don't need to keep the gift just because of who gave it to you. You don't. That mother-in-law that really doesn't like you but keeps giving you things, you don't need to keep her things. I know. I've had some pushback on some things. So let me walk you through this train of thought. With a gift, it is the thought of the gift that matters, not the physical item. So when you part with a particular item that someone gifted you, don't feel guilty about it. Just know that the gift itself, like the act of giving, is what the purpose of that present is. Another piece is we need to stop holding on to other people's clutter. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. Most of my clients knew this, not everyone, but a lot of my clients were saying, oh, do you want this? Oh, do you want this? As a way to kind of, give back what, services I have done for them, or just to get things out of their house. I would be like, sure, I'll take it. And on my way home, I will go and drop it off at a donation center. Sometimes people hand you gifts or they give you their clutter as a way of getting rid of it themselves. And so you cannot be taking on their clutter as well. Honestly, you need to stop taking on other people's clutter. And to do that, if somebody gives you something, again, similar to the gift, say thank you. It's the thought that counts, and just don't hold on to it if you don't find it meaningful or have any purpose in your house, or even if it's not your style. All those things are okay to not want. It is fine. Think about the stuff that you had when you were in middle school and high school. Okay, think about your bedroom. Let's think about your bedroom and the stuff you had in middle school and high school. You had picture frames, you had a boombox, you had all of those fun things. Do you still have those things now? And are you using those things now, or have you outgrown them? Well, that is the same with the gifts, the family heirlooms, other people's clutter, all of that type of stuff might be somebody saying, I'm done with this, and so now I'm going to hand it off to you. And when they hand it off to you, you do not need to take on the weight of the other people's clutter. You can simply part with it and be okay with it. You can still sleep well at night. Because you got rid of somebody's gift, because you donated or repurposed somebody's gift, does not mean you don't appreciate them. It simply means you appreciated that they thought of you, period. The physical item and the act of giving are two separate things. Please remember that. Also, only keep what speaks to you. Just keep what speaks to you. If something is not speaking to you, if it's just sitting in a basement, if it's just sitting in an attic, why are you holding on to it? Because honestly, at the end of the day, you're still going to have to deal with it just at a different point in your life. So let's say you're going to move. You're going to have to deal with all of that clutter then. Let's say you're downsizing. You're going to have to deal with all of that clutter then. Let's say that somebody passes away. You or your children are going to have to deal with those items then. Is that what you want to leave behind to your kids? I know, this is like super morbid, but the reason why we have to talk about this is because when you hold on to these sentimental items and you keep piling them up and say, I'll get to them later, you're really giving them to your kids to deal with. And is that really what you want them to do? Like, you really want them to have to deal with all of the stuff that you've left behind? Or do you want them to have positive memories that they get to look back on and be like, oh my gosh, I love that in this memory box that I get to keep all of these really cool things that my mom thought were really great or my dad thought were really great. So I want you to think about that. And if you want any more tips, check out down below where I walk you through a bunch of mindset tricks to help stop the sentimental clutter pile up in your home. Love what you see? Don't forget to subscribe. New videos every Wednesday.